What is up, you guys? It is your host, as always, the guy with movie tickets, here to bring you a film review for the upcoming Marvel Studios film, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, directed by James Gunn. The film does have the returning cast of the first two Guardians of the Galaxy films coming back for their roles. Chris Pratt, of course, as Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Karen Gillian as Nebula, Vin Diesel as Groot, Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, and last but not least, Palm Clementine as Mantis. We also do have a new cast member in the film joining the Guardians as well, with Will Poulter making his MCU debut as Adam Warlock. If those of you who aren't really familiar with Will Poulter, you might remember him from The Maze Runner with Dylan O'Brien, or We're the Millers with Jennifer Aniston, Emma Roberts, and Jason Sudeikis too. The film is definitely something that was missing within the Marvel universe after the end of Avengers Endgame. It feels as though the films were on the balance or getting off balance with trying to find that dark and light and trying to go for more light than dark. With that being said, I do give the film a solid 9 out of 10. The reason I'll give it a 9 is because the film feels like it was bringing back the roots of the second phase of the Marvel Universe. So it had that grim presence that sit well in the film, and compared to the other two films, it definitely had a lot more of a dark storyline to it. And in a sense, it made me think about the Winter Soldier. So we all saw Captain America: the First Avenger, and how light and kind of like a very soft storyline that it had. It was pretty bright and not really too dark. But then once you rolled into the Winter Soldier storyline for the second phase, that's when it started getting darker. The tone was a lot more ominous too, with the film's plot settings and the direction it had been going. And exactly for this film, this is exactly what it was doing. It was definitely touching base on the dark aspect of storylines from the Phase 2 arc for the Marvel Universe too. And with this film, another thing that I really liked was just the ensemble of the cast and how supporting cast members actually were more involved in the film rather than just kind of put on the back burner. With the film, I definitely have to say that Will Poulter did an amazing job as Adam Warlock. I won't do any spoilers at all. I'll just say he did phenomenal, and they did the right casting for Adam Warlock. I don't think I could see anybody else play the role at all. And if there might have been somebody else that could have been a good idea, you guys can kind of just throw out as to who would have been your ideal cast for Adam Warlock in the film. But Will Poulter, hats off to him. He did a phenomenal job in the film, and definitely had a strong start to his introduction into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With that, I'll say that the storyline within the film, and again, I won't make any kind of spoilers at all for those who want to go and watch the film and enjoy it, but the storyline was definitely solid, from beginning all the way to the end, even in the after credits. It just flowed perfectly, and it definitely was something that the Marvel universe needed to have in terms of fighting the inner darkness, even on the lightest days, vice versa, finding the lightest days in the darkness too. And with that being said, everybody did a phenomenal job, and just seeing how Zoe Saldana's character Gamora just kind of flipped the switch from what her previous version of Gamora was within the Marvel Cinematic Universe from I believe it was phase 2, all the way up to Endgame. So comparing her Gamora from those era of films to this Gamora in this new version of films was very interesting to see, how she just kind of changed the emotions, the interaction her character had with the Guardians as to what it was like for her to now be this version of Gamora from a different timeline. For those of you who haven't seen Avengers Endgame, you can watch that one to kind of understand as to what I'm talking about in terms of this Gamora being different from how her other appearances in the Marvel Cinematic Universe were. But definitely there was a lot of change into her character. There was a lot of anger, frustration, and so much emotion in the character. And with hers and Chris Pratt's character, Star-Lord, there was definitely some kind of great chemistry to where it wasn't a type of chemistry like in other films, but it was definitely a type of chemistry to where how these characters did interact, but the interaction isn't what everybody seemed or hoped for. It was an interaction where they both just kind of clashed rather than try to understand one another much more better. But definitely was something that was pretty interesting to see, like a different kind of chemistry within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A lot of the chemistry that we do see, it can either be friendships or it can definitely be romantic relationships in some matter. But in this one, it was definitely a type of chemistry where it was a frustrating one with a lot of emotions in play, basically. With that, Karen Gillan's character Nebula was definitely the backbone in this film. She definitely, in a way, kind of made sure everybody was in check for what they were doing and just kind of like what their mission was in this film itself. Again, I'm not going to do spoilers at all, but she did a great job in the film as pretty much being that ground for the Guardians itself and just seeing how she interacted with all the characters. Like I said, she was a supporting character or like supporting characters in other films where they were just kind of put on the back burner. She definitely was on her game on this one where she actually interacted with all the characters, pretty much was heavily involved in the storyline as well as in the Guardians main mission too. And with her character, it was interesting to see how Nebula and Gamora's relationship is now compared to what it was when Gamora from the previous phases was, to where it was more so it was kind of like they still consider each other siblings, but their bond is just kind of like almost there but not necessarily there. It's hard to explain without giving too much away, but most definitely was a crazy moment just to kind of see that interaction between the two, in the sense of, yes, they're familiar with each other, but the characters and their pretty much the aspects of each other are completely different compared to Gamora in this film versus Gamora in the other films and her other appearances. With that, I will definitely say that out of all the characters that were present in the film, there was a lot of there were some pretty big cameos in the film, so you definitely have to keep an eye out as to who exactly you're watching and what notable cameos you might see there, or even some Easter eggs. With this film, I'll definitely go and see it again. I hope I can see it again as well. And it was just something that I think was super awesome. Everybody will love. Family, friends, other halves will definitely enjoy too. Perfect movie for date night as well. There was some definite plot twists for sure. But let me go back to character interactions. But definitely Groot and Rocket were definitely, their characters were just phenomenal. And I think out of those two characters, Rocket definitely did like far and beyond. So Bradley Cooper did a great job, as always, being Rocket Raccoon and just kind of like putting in a lot of emotion when pretty much speaking and just kind of like being there as a character. So there was definitely some craziness that just was going on. And again, I can't give too much away because of how great it was, but you guys just have to go and see it. So with my score, definitely a 9 out of 10 for sure. The only reason I will dock you 1 point is because with Poulter's character, Adam Warlock, I will say that there wasn't a whole lot of screen time for his character. I really wish that there was more screen time, but I can definitely understand that his character is being introduced to the universe. It's his first time as a character being introduced to the MCU. The presence was known in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2. 1, sort of, it was kind of like there was that Easter egg there, but then number 2 is where it actually was the focal point of, yes, this character is going to be in the movies in the future. But with this character, again, I wish there was a lot more screen time, and I wish there was a bit more interactions with the other characters, with the Guardians itself. But I can definitely see as to why there wasn't a whole lot of screen time, since, again, first introductions to the MCU, and then this is now the newly introduction for Adam Warlock as to what his involvement within the MCU is going to be like from now all the way to the next films itself. So I'm actually curious to see as to where his character goes and how he grows as how his character grows too as well, and just kind of seeing as to what's in store in the future. Just kind of wishful thinking. Hopefully, in the Secret Wars, we kind of see some crazy stuff from his character. I have so many wishful expectations for his character because if you guys don't know, Will Adam Warlock is a big part of the MCU, especially within the Infinity Stone saga for the comics itself. But he is definitely a strong character and very powerful. But his introduction to the universe was just so awesome. But I really wish that they had done more screen time for his character, and I'm just hoping within the next few films that we can see more screen time and hopefully some more interaction, maybe within the next Avengers team up or within the Secret Wars films coming up. Maybe there's going to be that mention of Adam Warlock or uh, any additional screen time or interactions with a lot more characters. That way, it's kind of like they see him as a strong character that can be reliable when pretty much everybody's down kind of basis. But who knows? Maybe we will. Marvel's usually full of surprises, so we can never expect. Well, it's pretty much we have to expect the unexpected. But Marvel's very good with keeping their secrets for their films, as well as pretty much just kind of giving us, the fans, a huge surprise. But that's going to be my reason as to why I'm going to dock it one. Pretty much a lack of screen time for Adam Warlock. But Will Poulter, he did a great job. I cannot wait to see his character within the next couple of films in the next few years. And pretty much seeing how he pretty much brought Adam Warlock to life. That was also something that was really cool. Just to touch base on is that how he portrayed the character, how he was able to pretty much give Adam Warlock that sort of innocence. And if you want to do your research on Adam Warlock and see what character he is, his little background, his little story, highly recommend it before you go and watch the film. It's not necessarily a whole lot of spoilers on that part, but I would recommend just going to check it out and see what's the little background history on Adam Warlock, the character, and what is his comic counterpart like, and pretty much how he plays a role within the world of superheroes. But definitely go and check it out, everybody. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, a great film. Highly recommend it. So you might want to take your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your grandma, grandpa, your other halves, your in-laws. The kids will definitely love it. But for those who have kids who are infants or toddlers, unfortunately, I would recommend just keeping them home. Give them a babysitter. You guys do deserve the nights out, but definitely enjoy this. Don't ruin it for the other moviegoers. And as always, thank you guys for always checking out, supporting. I know I haven't been too active on my YouTube itself, but I'm working on that. There's been a lot of films that I haven't been able to see, but I'm working on that. That's going to be a little bit of my goal, is to go and touch base on more additional films in theaters or even films on Netflix. So if there happens to be films that are upcoming that are in theaters coming up soon, or films that are coming in Netflix or any kind of a streaming service, you as the fans, the watchers, as well as the moviegoers, comment below. Let me know as to what you would like to see reviewed, and from there, I'll go ahead and take care of it and do the heavy lifting. And as always, and again, grab your popcorn, don't forget your snacks, enjoy the film, and as always, have a great day, and thank you for always watching, guys.